Happy Tuesday. Uh, Glad that we are here in Satsang. Um, so um, today, one, if you can bring up, uh, if you can bring up, there are two images that I have sent. I wanted to talk through that a little bit today. So if you can bring that up. So just to, you know, as Yuan brings that up, um, uh, so I've sent two images in email on. So just to set the stage, basically, one of my class fellows is, you know, he has a child who is autistic, and so he has written a book called Brave, and he writes on Substack. So one of his latest Substack articles, he is referring to one of my other class fellows who just went to the Everest base camp, um, and and from his blog, he picked up uh, 10 quotes, and I was blown away. You know, how any adventure, especially mountain climbing, is similar to what we do. Uh, we talk about spiritual ascent. It's vertical. Um, it's a vertical. Uh, you know, going to a higher ground, climbing upwards, which takes effort and preparation and even guidance. Anybody who has done any serious, um, mountain climbing, they know how important it is to have a good guide. Um, so one of the first points he points out is humility increases with altitude. And uh, he says, when I felt out of breath, I slowed down. And when that wasn't enough, I slowed down even more. And it was, with no pun intended, uh, a breath of fresh air to see this spelled out this way. Humility increases with altitude. And that is exactly what I saw in the people of Satsang lineage. Humility was number one characteristics of each one of them. And I've been fairly close to some of them. And I can tell you, like, it seems like as you grow spiritually, humility becomes you. Then the second one is persistence is often more important than strength. I found a rhythm: step, breathe, pole strike, step, breathe, pole strike. It became almost meditative. So he even says it's like, so there is, the rhythm. So that was another thing that I observed up front in satsang, that there are people who actually attain heights But sustaining that height is another matter completely. So, Steve, we're talking about um, a blog that my friend writes. He actually is referring to another blog. One of my friends, uh, classmates, actually went to the Everest base camp, Salim, and Shrikant, who writes this blog. So first thing, humility increases with altitude. We just talked about that. And the second one we were talking about was persistence is often more important than strength. And this is, um, I personally observed sustaining yourself at a higher altitude, spiritually speaking, is equally important and difficult. So being able to, go to greater heights is good, but then you also fight with ego. You fight with, sustaining your ability to be at a higher ground, because, um, and I think the next line talks about that, why persistence is difficult. Stripped away The journey stripped away comfort, ego, and illusion. And when that happens, humility comes automatically, and then sustenance becomes very difficult. So, but it replaced them with perspective. So Everest Base Camp was never just about a destination at 5,000 plus meters. It was about confronting thin air, thin patience, and the voice in my head that frequently suggested that you can't do it. It was about sore knees, garlic soup dinners, oxygen readings, and that kept things interesting, and learning that comfort is widely overrated. And I think all of this um, applies to, you know, spiritual journey as well. So it's not just the destination, but how you cover the ground, how you continue the journey, um, especially when you are confronted with um, various different obstacles, which definitely come during the way. So uh, the mountain does not care about resumes, training plans, or ego. It only asks one question: will you take the next step? Every step required intention, every breath required negotiation. So, yeah, when you are in the midst of it, it takes a lot to stay on course. And you can't sit on your laurels, so to say. So the mountain, yep, and the second after that, as I ascended, I frequently wondered, why am I doing this? The answer is basically in front of him, the Everest mountain. For nearly an hour, two peaks treated us to a private showing. It was one of those moments that makes you forget your sore knees, the thin air, and questionable life choices. So I think, again, spiritual journey is pretty much the same. The mountains are testing endurance now, and not just enthusiasm, and requires unconditional and full submission. Wow. Uh, yeah, when I talk about that in spiritual context, there are a lot of skeptics. So Everest does not let you leave casually. It insists that, so it's a very, very deliberate affair. Nature does not negotiate. The mountains allow us passage. They do not owe it to us. Walking through the memorial space of Everest climbers was sobering. And I think through life, we see the same thing. Through spiritual life, and I don't know it should mention, but we have seen a lot of people who acquired not just spiritual heights, but sometimes name and fame comes with it. And then we find that they, when they fall, so you fall from a higher ground, that's actually very telling and illustrative, because the higher you fall from, the worse the outcome is. So comfort becomes negotiable, the mission does not. So all of these points, the reason I wanted to bring that up, as my friend points out here, that, I'm always drawn to lessons from Mount Everest climbers, because Mount Everest offers the highest challenge to mountain climbers. Those lessons spectacularly apply to any challenge in our lives. And that's, everything that I read here, I was like, I can, without any, clarifications or further elaboration, it just applies to spiritual growth, spiritual climb. Um, it is absolutely worth it, I think. But getting there without preparation, I think without even guidance, without the ability to endure. So you have to first, so there is more prep required than the climb itself. And then during the climb, a lot of other things that you might think of that you have accomplished just go sideways, because um, what's in front of you is the challenge. But it comes with it's at the end, it's all worth it. So yeah, I will probably write something on my Substack as well. Anyway, on that note, let's get into the practice. So eyes lightly closed, and sit in a still and relaxed posture, and feel the presence of this conscious source of transcendental energy in form of light, and that light is entering your heart and distributing throughout your body, and you are becoming one with this light. You are becoming the light. Mind wanders away, bring it back to this thought and this thought alone. That transcendental light is entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you are becoming one with this light. We'll start with music. Music fades away, and we go deep into silent meditation, and then we transition out with music again. Let's start. Happy Tuesday. I'm glad that we are here in Satsang. So, how are we doing? Steve, AC, me, anything before we wrap up?
भैया नमस्ते.
Mhm.
We are enjoying the cake and we cannot talk.
Yeah. Enjoy the moment, absorb the energy.
It was great, भैया, as usual.
So, how are you, Steve?
Doing well. Just seems like everything's moving so fast. So it's just nice to find some calm.
Yeah, I thought you were saying everything is blowing up around us. It's like finding time to calm down is just incredible.
Yeah. I have to not watch the news sometimes and just
It's see, it's actually hard to not be informed, and it's very hard to watch what is going on. So it's like I'm always conflicted, and sometimes my kids kind of look at me. It's like, why do you watch so much news? And then I understand like where they're coming from. That if you're you know in the Zen, then why do you need to fill up with all this? But then it's just, yeah, it's a strange world we live in.
yeah, it's just 2 weekends ago I went down to see my father. It was my mother passed 5 years ago, but it was her would have been her birthday, so I took my son down and saw my father, and then trying to think how this last weekend my youngest turned 22, so it just seems like there's always something going on, and just not a whole lot of time to just breathe and decompress and just relax. And I had yesterday, I think I had 23 students gone, and as a teacher, I just struggle with the lack of engagement and the lack of value, I think, placed on education right now. It's something I wrestle with, and so I
So when
have
you say gone, in what way?
um, just absent, not present, not in school, and just like chronic absenteeism is so prevalent in
Yes.
education right now. So if you're not present, I don't know. I don't know what you really expect out of the process. It's a difficult space right now. So
Yeah, I have seen that, observed. Yeah, it's like a lot of things are changing so rapidly for us. So for them, I think between the social media and the culture um, and the clicks, I also find the clicks they form are now far more Im- impactful. I think in terms of you know it on one hand it becomes bullying, and on the other hand it becomes just you know different kind of social and psychological pressure.
so I don't. I guess maybe it's for me to wrestle with and to solve. But I just feel like always loved teaching, and I feel like I just do less and less of that. It's like I'm going to be gone next week on vacation, or I was gone. I'm just always dealing with people that aren't present in the process. So then, how do you
Yeah.
manage that and still not? I get upset with myself because I get impatient. Then uh, I get short tempered, and I don't keep my calm. So I need to work on that. Just be on the higher ground, and I feel like I lose it so easily. It
Yeah, that,
tries me.
that is definitely something to work on. It's easier said than done. Yeah.
But yeah, your talk today, just the persistence, the resolve. It's it's a
No,
battle. I think everything is a
when I
battle.
read it, I said, like, how mountain climbing is so, I mean, it's in a way, it's like very in the face and very tangible, and you can see that for real, unlike the spiritual realm where a lot of this is happening, but, you know, quantifying becomes difficult. Uh, but it's all the points were like as relevant or actually even more relevant than what I saw there. It's like amazing, amazing. It's, I mean, I've always heard that in the writings of my grandfather and others, it's they do say it's it's a very steep climb, um, especially as farther you go, the steeper it gets, I believe. And uh, and it's like, and I think somewhere, uh, my grandfather wrote as much that the higher you gain the ground, the farther you will fall if you fall. you know, it's I mean, we can laugh at it, but it's very, 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 real. Actually, and when I was little, I have actually seen a couple of instances where, it's like quote unquote fall from grace. And it actually happens. Um, and it's, you're so close, but not really. you know, it's the temptations, the power, and even what I have seen is, like people you surround yourself with matter. So you might be with all good intent, uh, things take a turn. Um, so it's a very, very steep and slippery climb. See, actually, when I was a teenager, I was attending a satsang. I don't know if it was for the first time, but maybe it was one of the times when I actually kind of attended for real. Because otherwise I'll go with my parents and just, as a kid, I would just fool around. But this time I actually meditated. And so I was walking behind Panditji Maharaj, who was one of my grandfather's, spiritual heirs. And so he had traveled. My father was there, and so I was just following him after a session, after actually lunch. And somebody said that, I he always stays on a very high ground. And what he was saying was his state is like so high all the time that it's palpable. And I was a kid, I'm like, I mean, if who is, kind of in a leading role, I mean, why wouldn't he? So that was like, why is that even a question or a statement? So as a kid, I was like, I mean, why are you saying that? And when I grew up, then I realized that, yeah, sustaining and staying on higher ground is more tough than just getting there. Sustaining there is like takes even more. So, like in mountain climbing, it's rough terrain, comfort is gone. It's like ego, all the illusion, and you're like one step away from just poof. It's just so you have so sustaining and being there is just very, very, very tough. So I think spiritually speaking, that's even tougher. Because see, what happens is all day long, things happen which get you grounded elsewhere, you know? So people say, oh, you get grounded in meditation. I'm like, yeah, right. So people, situations, and even our own thoughts and the continual inner voice that just keeps challenging us in one way or other. Yeah. All right. Okay, so on that note, AC, Onkar, Steve, have a great week ahead. Love, light, and peace be with you. Um, let's get together in Satsang soon. Take care.
Namaste, Bhaiya. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye, Steve. Bye, AC.